Here we are, part 3, time to sand and polish and hopefully paint in the same video some dice. We're going to use Zona paper to sand and polish the dice. The Zona paper I'm using comes in 6 different microns. You have the green, which is 30 micron. You have the gray, which is 15 micron. You have the blue, which is 9 micron. The pink red, which is 3 micron. The light blue is 2 micron. And the white is 1 micron. Usually how I look at the Zona paper is like from the green to the blue is where we start to sand the dice, get the rough edges out. From the red to the white is where we start to polish, where we start to see the glass-like finishing touches. I'm going to be using the Novice 1 Plastic and Shine, which is also inside the kit, to do like the finishing polishing touches for the dice. Before I start sanding, I want to make sure I have a flat surface. So I'm going to bring out this small little square glass to act out as my flat surface, since I can't use my table because it has so much resin residue and paint and it's rough. Then I'm going to start off with the 30 micron green Zona paper, and we're going to do what's called wet sanding. Wet sanding is preferred because if you do dry sanding, you will have resin particles flying in the air, and you're also inhaling the resin particles, which is really bad for you. Whereas wet sanding will contain the resin particles to the Zona paper. I do about 20 circles going clockwise and then 20 circles going counterclockwise with each face. You want to do this with all of your dice, so it's going to take you some time in sanding. I would say sanding could take around maybe an hour and a half to 2, because you have to sand all the faces of each dice, and that includes the D20. Now you don't have to do 20 circles clockwise and counterclockwise. You can use your own judgment. If you think it needs less, it can have less. If you think it needs more, it can have more. It's completely up to you. But this is just the method that I use. Eventually, when I get off the green Zona paper, I tend to do less circles. So I'll probably do 10 clockwise and then 10 counterclockwise on the next sheets after. And I'll just keep that method going until I'm completely done. So I'm going to go ahead and speed up this process and show you the D6. I'm also going to show you at least the first part of the D4 and the D8, the ones I had to use UV resin, so that way you can see how it turned out after the green, after sanding with the green Zona paper.
TerranceMitchellBeatz.
Now we're at the white Zona paper, and we're going to do something a little bit different here. We're going to add our water like normal, so we can do some wet sanding, but we're also going to add our polish. We're going to add our polish to the Zona paper. This way we can knock out 2 birds with 1 stone here. After adding the polished solution, just repeat your steps as you have been doing. After this finger cramping job, you should have some nice, shiny, clickety-clack math rocks. Just look at them. Marvelous. And I want to show you the edits that I did with the D4 and the D8. Now with the D4, you can still see the slight little circle right there, but it's smooth. And it's just a slight little flaw. And with the D8, there are a few flaws with that die as well, such as rounded corners and just a slight lifted face, or like the little crack that's by the foreface. Is this stuff fixable? I'm pretty sure it is. It just required a little bit more sanding. But I didn't want to sand too far and then the numbers start to disappear. So you have to be careful with how much you do sand. Another thing to keep in mind to all dice smiths, dice makers, is that you're not a robot, you're not a machine, you are human. What I mean is you're gonna have flaws in your dice and they're not always gonna come out perfect, but you can try to get them perfect if there is a flaw that's in them. So just take your time and don't overly criticize yourself because there's a flaw and you can see it. Sometimes other people can't see it, but your own work, I mean, yeah, you can tell. It's something that I have to keep telling myself every time I make dice, because I want them to be flawless, but sometimes they're just not. I have human hands. What can I do? You may be wondering, you have white residue that's inside your numbers. In order to take the white residue off, or pretty much the excess resin, you can simply use a toothpick to dig the resin out and try to dig as much as you can as possible. Doing this will make sure that the paint will stick to the actual face and not the resin residue. Now once you get done with that, it is now time for our final step, which is painting these dice. I'm going to go ahead and choose a metallic color, pearl pink. You can't really see the pink part, but it's pearl pink. And I think that'll go well with this little grapefruit set. I'm going to go ahead and take my paint and I'm going to just wipe it across the number. Now you can try to paint the number, like get inside the crevices, but the only thing about it is that sometimes the paint doesn't like stick on the number, so blotching it on the face is the way to go. And when you blotch it on the face, what you can do is take the dice and then like wipe it on the paper towel, so that way you're making less of a mess on your fingers, and you're also getting the paint inside the numbers. You're gonna repeat that step until you covered all your numbers on every single die. A method I use while painting is leaving one face not painted, so I can make less of a mess on my fingers and everywhere else. Either I will leave one face not painted, or I will leave like the bottom faces of like say like the D4 or the D10 not painted. With the D20, God, I mean, I just try my best. I'll leave some faces not painted. I'll try to do half and half, but it's too many faces on a D20. But once I do that, I'll go back when the faces are somewhat dry. I'll go back and just finish up the other faces that are not painted. After the dice have been sitting for some time and getting some time to dry, I'll go ahead and see if the dice need any detail or touch up. give us all about a couple of hours after like the paint is fully dry on the faces. It is now time to go ahead and clean your dice off. I like to use a microfiber towel and glass cleaner in order to get the paint off my dice. I will show you what I mean when I'm cleaning this D6 with the microfiber towel and also glass cleaner. And I do this for the rest of my dice. I'm not going to show it because you'll just see a towel and the recording. And voila, we have some finished grapefruit dice. These actually came out better than I was expecting. Like honestly, I just threw some colors together. I was like, oh, I'm gonna just use this and this, and we'll just see what happens. But they actually came out not too bad. And with the metallic pink, man, they pop out even more. So these are definitely gonna be my now grapefruit dice. So with that being said, and if you guys got any questions, comments, go ahead and comment down below, or you can message me on Etsy. I should have my Etsy linked in the description, so there's that. And I hope this guide has helped the future dice smiths to go ahead and cast, forge, sand, polish, and paint your own set of dice. Alright guys, I will catch y'all later.